Okay, quick question. Where do we all stand on the whole college conversation? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alyssa Harris. I'm a vocalist and a vocal coach, and I just love to come on here and talk about all things singing with all my fellow singers and performers out there. This is the channel for you if you are an aspiring singer, performer, a professional singer, performer, any stage of your journey. You're going to find some insight and tips right here on this channel. We talk about a lot of things. We cover a lot of topics, okay? And today I want to talk about the very polarizing conversation of higher education and college within the performing arts, the professional artist space. And I know that there are varying different opinions about this. We may have a wide range of opinions and of thoughts about this topic, but I think it's really interesting and I wanted to talk about it today. Now, is college necessary? Do you need to go to college to become a professional singer? Do you need, is there any education or skills that you may get in college that are absolutely priceless and that are absolutely unique that you can only get within the walls of a classroom? Do you need to go to college to be successful at performing? The obvious answer is, well, no, because we can name off a handful of different celebrities, just any given celebrity, Michael Jackson, Beyonce, whoever you want to say. I mean, I don't know if they went to college, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. Any celebrity that we could say reached the pinnacle of success and never stepped foot inside of a lecture hall, don't know the first thing about college. And so then that makes you wonder, if the obvious answer is no, then why do so many people still insist on going when they have dreams of being a successful performer? Why do people still go to college? I mean, why did I go to college? I'm one of the people that went with dreams of becoming, where I am now, but also wanting to get an education. So it just comes down to a conversation of what is valuable to whom and what's the most beneficial and what are the pros and cons of each thing. Is it necessary? Is it a good addition, but not necessary for success? Well, I kind of want to add to that conversation. As someone who did go to college, I kind of overdid it because I just really liked school, but I also became successful as a professional performer, which didn't necessarily directly have anything to do with my degrees. So I'm sort of in the middle of this conversation, and I kind of wanted to unpack a little bit more about that. Now, before we get started, I want you to go ahead and like this video. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that way you never miss an upload from me. So this video could be of help to you if you're considering a career, like a full-time career as an artist, a full-time professional career in the arts. This is a conversation that you may have had with yourself, like, okay, well, my goal is to be performing full-time. My goal is to be an artist. My goal is to be a performer. My goal is to sing and act on Broadway, or whatever the case might be, to be a songwriter, whatever it is. So why do I need to go to college to do that? This might also apply to you if you're in a completely different profession and you're thinking about transitioning into becoming a professional performer or doing, your performing arts job full time. You may be wondering, do I need to attain additional certificates? Do I need more education? Do I need more degrees to be able to do the thing that I want to do within performance? Now, my personal opinion is that college is an incredible way to develop multiple different skills. So not just your craft, it could be that, right? You could be going to school to develop your craft, but also you learn so many different types of skills, one of which is showing that you are able to commit to a long-term goal and finish it. Anyone who's ever been to any college or done any kind of college program, has finished, knows that it's not easy. It's not easy to set out to do a goal that might take you 2 years, 4 years, 6 years to finish, right? And so even that kind of stick-to-itness, that persistence, that perseverance, that's a skill in itself. And college is one of those things that teaches you longevity. It teaches you how to be determined and work towards a goal. It teaches you resilience because you have a lot of ups and downs. You have a lot of bad days in college. And that's just, and it does teach you a lot of life skills as well. However, I also realize that college is not for everyone. As we know, college, no matter what discipline you're in, it doesn't even have to be performing arts. Any field that you go in, I mean, college is not necessarily going to guarantee that you're going to be successful. And that's even more so in a career that is not always consistent or not always as stable like the arts, right? So that's something definitely to consider, and both of those sides have pros and cons to it. Everything I talk about on this channel, of course, is coming from my own experience. Every now and then I'll pop in a couple of stories from others, and if you guys want me to start doing that, I was thinking about maybe adding like an interview element to my videos. So if that's something that you would like to hear about as well, definitely let me know in the comments. I mean, I can start by talking to you guys about my story. So ever since I was a young child, I didn't have dreams of being a doctor, being a lawyer. I didn't even necessarily have dreams of going to college, but I always had dreams of being a singer. So from the time I was 10, by the time I was 5 years old, or by the time I could speak and I was singing, I always wanted to be a singer. The same thing carried throughout, my younger years, and then also in high school. And then when it was time to go to college, my particular situation was I knew I wanted to be a singer, but I kind of also had that feeling that I think a lot of us have. And maybe just like it's something that's ingrained in us throughout the years from our parents, from society, from the media, that tells us, okay, you grow up, you go to high school, you go to college. That's it. You don't have any questions about it. You just go to college. And you don't necessarily think about, okay, will I use it? Do I want to? Whatever, you just go. And so that was kind of what I did. Like, I just went to college not thinking like, okay, I'm going to major in music. I'm just going to go. I almost treated college as like a separate thing from my singing career. It was like I wanted to go to college and work on my singing career like separately. Of course, the worlds would collide when I would like perform at my school, like on my campus, or I would collaborate like with other students, like songwriting and stuff like that, which I did quite a lot of when I was younger, and a lot of I did a lot of like my first performing. That's when I really got into like writing music and performing my own songs, and I did all that while I was in college, but I didn't go to study music or performance. I went to study communications for my undergrad. But what happened to me in particular was that when I went to school, like I said, I was into the arts, I was into music, I was into theater and everything like that. Wasn't necessarily studying it. I went for communication studies, but my circle of people that I was with were theater majors, were music majors, and were like artists. And so I sort of fell into that crowd as well when I was in college. So even though I wasn't studying it, I was auditioning for all of the musicals. I was, like I said, performing on campus. I was writing music with my friends. So I was doing a lot of like training, a lot of preparation. I was working on my singing career. The infant steps of my singing career started while I was still in college studying something completely different. And that was just my particular experience. I mean, looking back, I'm like, maybe I don't know what I would have done differently looking back. I mean, it wasn't necessary for me to be majoring in music, but I did so much involved within the music scene and the performing scene at my college that like it almost like didn't matter anyway. And I gained a lot from it. And then when I went to do my master's, same thing. It was really to gain education for a different area of study, like a different area of knowledge. I wanted to research more like musicology, so not necessarily performing, but like music history. And that's what I did my master's in. And again, I was still working full-time as a performer. I was working on ships, I was working in Vegas while I was earning my master's degree in something completely different because again, like I mentioned, I love school, and while college was helpful for me, it was helpful for me indirectly and in a different area than in my performance. So I wouldn't necessarily say that like it didn't necessarily help me in a practical way, like the actual training, the actual like the voice lessons or the dance classes or the acting classes. That was something I did outside of school. And that was something, it was a lot of on the job training, really, because by the time I graduated with my bachelor's, my my whole goal, which is also so funny when I look back, is like I was working on getting my degree in undergrad. I was working on getting my bachelor's in communication studies. Meanwhile, having no interest in anything having to do with communication studies, because all I wanted to do was sing. All I wanted to do was perform. So I'm like, God, I can't wait till I finish this degree so I can go back and start auditioning. Like, I can't wait to get my first job. I can't wait to get like on a cruise ship, or can't wait to get hired at Disney. Can't wait to like do all these things that I like eventually wanted to do and eventually did do. But I was like, oh, this pesky degree, once I get that out of the way, I can just, blow off all this work and do what I really want to do. So that was one approach to it. And I mean, maybe also because I take on too many things at once. And so it was a lot, but I do, like I said, I do like school. I'm good at school and I like to learn. I like to study and that kind of thing. So it wasn't too much of a chore for me. I mean, obviously it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, and it's very expensive because I do have a lot of student loans now, right? So that's another thing in my personal, thing, was that the money that I make now doesn't necessarily, it's not a direct trade off from what I got my education in. Now, do I have any regrets? Absolutely not, because I had an amazing time in college, both times. I said I went 4 times because I started out by trying to get my associates and then I dropped out. Did my bachelor's, did my master's, and then I did 1 semester of my doctorate, and then I dropped out of that too. So, but anyway, long story short was that, with my love for school and with my love for education and with me pursuing educational goals, I was still able to pursue my music and performance goals simultaneously. I know not everyone has the ability to do that, but in my case, I was very fortunate to be able to do both. I did, looking back, probably spread myself very thinly when I did that, but I want to say when I look back, I feel good about what I accomplished, and I do feel good about where I am in my singing career, and that's to say that I don't feel as though going to college either of the times set me back within my career. So I can say with 100% confidence that going to college was definitely a huge benefit to my singing career, whether it was indirectly or directly, because one, I went to LA. I moved to LA to go to college. So when I was in LA, I was working on music. I was meeting people. I was in that whole entertainment and art scene. And that was a valuable experience in itself. I met incredible people, many of which I'm still friends with to this day. If you're watching, hey, shout out to y'all. We had so much fun. We had so much discovery. We learned so much. We had so many breakthroughs, and I cherish that time. I would never change my experience. If I never do a job that has anything to do with my degrees, I would still be happy with everything I've done, because that time was a very, very valuable, very sacred time looking back. By the time I went to get my master's, I kind of had a different idea of, okay, I'm performing, I'm a full-time performer, have been for, X amount of years now, but there may come a day where I want to do something different. There may come a day that I want to do something in a different field that is not in singing, that is not in performance. So that allowed me to kind of expand on some of my ideas, expand on the things that I thought would kind of benefit me in the future. And that was another reason why I decided I wanted to go back to school, and another reason that I'll never regret it, because even now, okay, I graduated. I did grad school, finished in 2019, and it's 2024, and I have yet to have a job in higher education as I thought I wanted to. I thought, okay, maybe one day I will want to do something outside of singing, and that was kind of my original goal. But then, of course, COVID hit, and here we are. But again, I'm always glad that I did it. I don't have any regrets, because I feel like it's a really good way that I was able to kind of like diversify my skill and to kind of create another path for myself in case I want to take a break from performing. It's just something that I'll always like have in my back pocket. It's a different sort of environment that I'm used to, like within performing. It's something different, so it's something that I will always have, and it's something that maybe I will pursue in the future. In my experience and in my opinion, I think that going to college is always going to be a beneficial experience, whether or not you use those skills in your professional performing arts career. I think it's an enriching experience. I think college is a great way to develop many different skills. As we know, as I said, like you can develop skills that are intangible and things that you learn. So I wanted to go over the pros and cons of going to college while pursuing a performing arts career. So there's going to be multiple sides to each thing, and I think that going to college has its many pros, its many benefits, and its many upsides. And I just wanted to touch on a few of those really quickly. The first thing that I would say that is a big pro of going to college, even if you want to pursue an arts career, a pro of going to college is the skills that you would get. So if you are pursuing, whether that's acting, whether it's dance, singing, musical theater, whatever it is, you're going to be getting the training within, your college. You're obviously paying tuition to get that, top tier education in those things. So you'll have that foundation of knowledge and skills. You're going to be taking the theory classes, and you're going to be able to practice, and you're going to be able to get the textbook, the knowledge of those topics that you're studying. And you're going to have professors that are teaching you the material. So there's no need for the outside expense or the outside pursuing of, extra voice lessons or acting lessons or things like that. Obviously, the skills that you get in college, especially if you're taking classes that are towards, what your performing arts goals are in. So if you're going to school for acting because you want to become a professional actor, you're going to be getting, really good, valuable, quality education and skills in that field. The second pro that I think is really great about going to college, even if you want to become a professional performer, is the equipment that you are able to have access to. So a lot of times on campus, again, it's something that your tuition and your fees pay for, is like you can use the rehearsal room. Sometimes they have a recording studio in there. You have access to the theater, to the dance rooms with mirrors, the pianos, the like I said, the studio space, the lights. Like you even have people that can help you operate the things. You can learn how to operate the equipment, and you just have access to it, so you're not necessarily having to have an extra expense or go far to be able to use some of the equipment you're going to be using within your professional career. So it's kind of a good way to get used to those things, because if you just start straight out, without going to college, you may not be familiar with certain parts of certain equipment, and like that's something that you don't necessarily want to learn certain things on the job. It's really good to kind of have that training and that exposure to those things before you get out there and do the real thing. Another thing that I consider to be a pro of going to college while pursuing an arts or performing arts career is the professionalism that you gain while being in college. Everybody knows that, it's a little bit more strict, like in college, than I guess it would be in the real world, because everything is so meticulous. Well, in a lot of cases, things are graded meticulously. Things have to be in a certain format. Things have to be on time, deadlines. You have to be aware of how you're speaking to your classmates, your colleagues, your professors, how to write emails, how to do certain things that will translate to be helpful things in the real world. So it's good practice, and you do gain a lot of professionalism, a lot of practice with how to interact with people. And especially, again, if you're going to school for something that is the same as your performing arts goals, you're going to be getting like a mock experience with being in college, and you're going to get to experience some of those things beforehand, and it will help better prepare you for when you get out into the real world. You'll already have kind of a head start and an idea of what sort of professionalism is going to be required in that field. Another pro that I would consider about going to college is to be able to have, I guess, a backup plan. I don't like to call it a backup plan. I like to call it diversifying your interests. So if you're ever at a point in your life where you're like, oh, I don't want to be a performer anymore, you don't have to be, right? Because you've gained other skills and you have cultivated other skills that you're able to do if you need to. Like, let's say, God forbid, if you get injured and you can't sing anymore, you can't dance anymore, you don't have the ability to act anymore. So, you should be able to have other skills that are going to, keep you at a certain level of, income, or something that you can be consistent with. If you're no longer performing, you at least have the skills that you gained in college and the degree that you hopefully gained in college to be able to start a new path if that's what you want to do. Okay, so let's talk about the other side of it. We talk about all of the good things about going to college, but maybe there is a less referred to side of this conversation, which is some of the downsides or reasons why people may not want to go to college or realize that it's just really not for them. Now, I would say the first thing on that is the big one, which is money. It's very expensive. So unless you get a scholarship or you're getting grants or you save a lot of money or whatever like that, you are going to have to pay a lot of money to go to college. And as we already know, it costs a lot to finance a career as an independent artist. I mean, we do put a lot of money into our careers. Like if you're pursuing a career on your own with like acting classes and all the different things that you have to put money into when you're trying to pursue your arts career. I mean, college on top of that, like I can see that is definitely a big deterrent for some people because they don't want to go into debt because I mean, that's very logical, a very good reason as to opt out of college because it's just not financially smart for them at the time. The second thing that I would call a con is not being able to 100% focus on your craft and your art while you're in school. So obviously, while you're if you're just working on your music career or whatever your arts career is, if you're just focused on that, you also have to make money, but so that means you have to focus on work and you have to focus on your craft. But when you're in college, you got to focus on your craft, you got to focus on making money, and you got to focus on doing schoolwork and getting good grades. So it's a lot, it's a lot to go on your plate. I can see why that may not be appealing to some people because they want to be able to focus 100% on songwriting or on just putting the hours into pursuing their art form instead of going to school. I can totally see that being a reason and not wanting to split your focus between multiple different places. And another con that I would say that a lot of people might consider is that they might change their direction, or the fear that they may just simply not use their degree at some point. You invest a lot of energy and a lot of time into getting this degree, and then if you decide, at the end of however many years that you decide, okay, maybe this is not the path that I want to go in, maybe I want to do something different, then maybe they might look back and feel like it was a waste of time because they wanted to change their direction. So I could see not wanting to commit that kind of money and that kind of time and that kind of investment on something that may not provide a satisfactory return on that investment. So I can definitely see that for sure. The last thing that I wanted to touch on in this video, and I want to say it's the absolute most important thing, is that no matter what you do, whether this is within the college environment or not, whether you decide to go to college or you decide not to and just pursue your art full time, if you get nothing else from this video, I really want to stress, I cannot stress enough the importance of networking. I know it sounds cliche, like, okay, you have to be on and you have to be trying to mingle and network with every single person that you meet. Like, I do want to encourage you guys out there to, no matter what environment you're in, whether it's in an academic environment, whether you're in college, make sure you know your colleagues. Know your professors. A lot of people, as we know, creatives have their hands in multiple things. So it's very valuable to know how to interact with people and to keep in touch and keep those connections open with people, because that is going to take you so far. There are still so many people that I'm in touch with to this day that I know from within college and from after college, just in my professional performer life, that I know that I have connections with that have taken my career to new heights. Like, my career has grown leaps and bounds just based off of, just by the virtue of knowing so many people with such a broad network, with people that could help me, people that I could reach out to for resources, for advice, for help, for anything. And just having that is so important. Whether or not you go to college, make sure that your networking skills are always going to be on point, because that is going to take you to the next level. I could do a whole video about that. So if you want to know a little bit more about how to network, what that means, and what it all entails, let me know, because I love that topic and I would love to talk about it some more. Okay, guys, so that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know, what do you think? Is it important to go to college? Is it necessary? Should artists go to college? Is it an added bonus to their career? I mean, do you need to go to college to be successful? If yes, why? If not, why not? And why do people still go? Let me know your thoughts. What did you do? Are you a performer? Let me know. As you guys know, I'm also a coach. So if you are a professional, or if you're just getting started, or if you're a singer, you're a performer, and you need any help along your journey, reach out to me, because I provide guidance and I love to just chat with you guys about all of this stuff. So let me know what you guys thought about this video, and keep in touch with me. Follow me on Instagram, head to the website. All of that information is going to be in the description box below. And I'll see you all in the next one.